Now, from a Clapham point of view, because Clapham, we always know that it's a Sundowns slash Clapham. How would you say Clapham has helped you also on the side what the Sundowns had in terms of shaping an all-rounded football?
Look, it's been a good journey, I think, throughout, and you see, they always offer a different kind of a challenge with school football. Our responsibility as well is to help bring back those good old days where players were recruited from schools, and obviously it has to be attractive for more people to be involved, and this is our responsibility, and obviously you grow within that to say my responsibility is to serve the people, my responsibility is to develop and take football out there, and from that point of view it has helped me grow a lot, and so it's not club football only. There's more schools, so you have to consider a lot of things when you deal with that, and then it brings in how you manage the footballers themselves, because before they are footballers, they are human beings. They are children. They are young men that we need to groom, and obviously because we don't want to just extract out of them that quality in football and then raise or develop great footballers only, but great human beings as well. Take back to society a man when you've taken out of society a boy. So it's part of our responsibility.
Throughout your time at Sundowns, especially in the last decade or recent years, who would you say have been some of the successful products of players who came through the partnership with Clapham?
The first player that comes to mind is obviously Pesitao, and then followed by obviously the late Mocheka Majisha, and then you have Spelele Mkhulise, Keleto Mahala, Promise Mkuma, and them, and I think there's a lot more coming in through, because we also have Spesishem Kize, Malebo Khomudise that played in the under-20, Thabo Mloisane that also played in the under-20 World Cup. Yes, Promise Mkuma, Tendo Mkumela, yes, they all came through that pipeline.
But would you say, because when you mentioned the names, and I recall the standard, currently when I look at the junior national teams, I'm not finding a Sundowns player who's mentioned his name at all.
Look, it's situations that there are phases within development, and you allow for players to learn and then utilize that, and then when there is time to execute, this is when now you'll see a lot more coming up. For instance, in the national under 20 team, we had for instance Puleman, who was here as well, Ntando Nkosi, that are coming through those spaces. So they're going through into those spaces, and we have two players that are in the national under 17 team. But a lot more will come up, because it's time now to teach. It's time now for them to learn. It's time to develop, and then we'll unleash them for them to execute.
And I'm interested in the topic of this. I remember we were coming back from a time when we just won the Champions League, and Percy was sitting in a corner somewhere there, and he opened his books and he was busy with his studies at the same time. Obviously, he was way past the level of high school at the time, progressing with his tertiary education. So it also tells you that this thing is continuous, and from the growth coming down at that level, that's where it's going.
Yes, and I can easily take you to the Diski and ABC Motsepe League team, M Tigers, that are part of our development. They are in the elite space. Most of the players that are there play varsity football now. They are in the varsity cup. So it tells you that what we highlight that part, we encourage them, and then obviously find ways to help them get into tertiary level for them to further their study. It's not about, like I said, it's not about the football part only. It's all around the human being should be able to stand on his own and do a lot of things for themselves. So that we highlight. It's very important to us.
So I guess you become more than just a coach. You are a tutor as well. You are everything.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, at the end of the day, Cassius Mailula just graduated so recently, and yeah, so it's those kind of moments that make us proud. So we get our satisfaction from that. We put in an effort. The rewards come in later, and it's important for us to be patient as we build.
Interesting that you're talking about this because I was looking at Cassius. When you look at him, there's a kit. I see him in the old kit, the Nike kit, and then this tells me, yeah, this boy, he's been at Sundowns for some time.
Yeah, he's been here for a while. Most of these boys come in at an early age. Some at under 11, under 13, in that space, and then they grow from within and obviously develop into better footballers and human beings. So obviously, and then they are able to choose the path later on in their lives. But it becomes important for us to groom them properly. It's a little bit more difficult when they are older. So this is why we prefer when they are still younger.
But Mike, you've kept him as team. So I guess this being a mentor, let alone just being a coach, just a mentor at all levels becomes easy for you in terms of because you know what is a typical Sundowns player.
You know, I've always asked the question: how possible is it for someone that hasn't been a good role model, that's not a good role model, for them to groom someone into a good role model? And I'm sure me and you know that. When you look at it, you go deeper, dissect it. You know, it's almost impossible, if not impossible. So you've got to live a certain way for you to impact other youngsters' lives in the same way. And I know in South Africa we tend to prioritize people that have fallen off the rails and came back to be them, encouraging, obviously mentoring people well, and we forget about those that had done well throughout. So I don't know how we got to that, but that's South Africa for you. We give a lot of attention to people that have done a wrong and obviously they want to do a right, as opposed to that have done a right since the beginning. And these ones should be the role models to our kids.
It's interesting because that's something I think I was talking to Athas 3-4 years ago, and he said exactly the same thing, on how we celebrate these people who've done things like this in the past, which for me is a very interesting analogy because it's there and it's happening. Is it a matter of populism, maybe?
I think so, because those that come off the race get to be more popular than those that stay in line, those that toe the line. And maybe from that we are unable, or we choose not to separate the two and say, okay, we should be celebrating this instead of this. And we should make mention, acknowledge when someone has done wrong and they're prepared to do right, or they are now doing right. Yes, that should be acknowledged. But we should celebrate the good, those that have done right throughout. I think, I don't know how we can get that right, but we need to move towards that direction so that kids find better role models all the time.
Coach Mike, just going back to Mailula, you worked with him at what level?
At under 19 level.
At under 19?
Yeah, I've been with Clapham. We won the CAF Motsepe as well. And at Diski level, M Tigers level.
And there's an element that at Sundowns you've got that other teams don't have, taking nothing away from it is but how valuable is that competitive level of M Tigers in the ABC in terms of molding a competitive player?
Look, the reason we combine M Tigers and the Diski is that Diski presents, if you're grooming a player for the PSL, it presents those kind of opportunities where you play a match that's live on TV. Obviously, there's crowd, there's all of that attention, the branding outside, and all of that. So the atmosphere is more PSL, closer to PSL, and obviously the M Tiger side brings in something different. You are there. They usually call it the jungle, where you have to fight against older guys that some have played in the PSL before. So you've got to navigate, find your way, you find solutions. So in terms of players' progress, the progression of players towards finding more, better solutions in a match, during a match, then it helps a lot, because then when you deal against an experienced someone, you've got to find your way through and still win your duels, your 1v1 duels, and obviously that takes us to winning a football match, because we're developing winners at the end of the day as well.
Now, this is telling me that because somebody was saying to me, I must double check this, because what you've done well at Sundowns in terms of towards the last phase of molding Cassius, he played more in the M Tigers, and that's why in terms of competitiveness we've seen him blossoming.
Yes, we wanted to balance that what he had learned from the Diski, that what he has experienced from the Diski space, with playing against players that have seen and played in the PSL, so that it's not new to him when he gets to the PSL space, and you can see now how he benefited from that exercise.
Because normally, knowing Sundowns, you loan out a player, then he goes and gets game time and he comes back. But with him, you just took him straight up. Is this the exceptionalism of his talent?
Look, it's a combination of two things. I think the talent, as you have mentioned, becomes the important part, and obviously from the technical team as well. It's there. It's easy for one to can do that. Looking at the fact that where you are in that space where the senior team is, we have to get results. We have to play well and get results. So you can easily feel you don't have enough time to be grooming someone, but the fact that they committed to grooming youngsters within that space and still help them do exceptionally well, and that's great. That brings in that part. That's great from the coaches.
And I know that earlier I was saying to you guys have not produced in a very long time. So when you look at him, do you feel like do you look at him and say, at least now you can go back to the grazing land and plow again?
This is encouragement for us, and I think we are highly motivated right now with that. So we know we are taking steps towards the right direction. We know we are doing the right thing. So that was important for us. The feedback, actually, it gives us that kind of feedback.
And he should be in the under 23, yeah? Definitely.
Easily.
It is difficult to just let you go to talk about Coach Rulani, and at the same time, he's coming in. We see the emergence of a Cassius Mailula, a boy who's been with Sundowns Academy for years.
Yeah. No, the story of Cassius Mailula is one that I also hope many young South Africans can look to and learn from. Cassius is a very, very committed boy to his craft. He loves the game. He's a student of the game. And he was actually, from the academy, he was in the MDC side, playing under Coach Godfrey Sapula. He hasn't had that shot up until now. And I think it's important for those who watch to say, you have to keep trying. Some way, somehow, someone might see you, right? And to all young footballers, that's the story. And it's not the same for everyone, but Cassius has managed to take his opportunity and run with it. He has also a lot of good senior players that are keeping him grounded, providing him with advice and confidence. You can see it when he scores a goal. All the senior players run to him and celebrate with him. So there's a lot of brotherhood that is happening in the football club at the moment that we love to see. It's very encouraging.